To create this hover button glow effect, we first add a simple tag and give it a class name called button. Then inside our CSS, we start by adding padding to make the button larger, set a blue background color, white text, and rounded corners for a modern look. We also apply a transition so the effect plays smoothly. Now, in the hover section, we add a bright blue box shadow that spreads outward. And we slightly scale the button up. Together, these two properties create a clean, glowing effect whenever the user hovers over the button. For this magnetic hover effect, we begin by creating A and giving it the class name card. In our CSS, we set its width and height. A white background, rounded corners, and a soft shadow to give it some depth. We also include a smooth transition so any movement feels responsive. On hover, we apply a translate transform, shifting the card a few pixels diagonally. This tiny movement gives the illusion that the card is being attracted toward the cursor, creating a simple but modern magnetic hover animation. To build this fade-in animation, we start with a named box. In the CSS, we define its size and background color, but set its opacity to 0 and push it downward using translate Y. Next, we apply an animation called fade in. Inside our keyframes, we slowly increase the opacity to 1 and bring the box back to its original position. This combination makes the element softly fade into view. Even though we're not using real scrolling detection here, this animation is often triggered when a section becomes visible on scroll. For this hover card effect, we add a with the class card. In CSS, we set the size, apply a white background, rounded corners, and a subtle shadow. Then we add a smooth transition. On hover, we use translate Y to lift the card upward by a few pixels. And we increase the shadow depth to make it appear more elevated. This creates a clean and elegant card lift animation that adds depth and interactivity to your UI. To create this typing text animation, we start with a tag and assign it the class typing. In the CSS, we restrict the width using characters, hide any extra text with overflow hidden, and add a right border to act like a blinking cursor. Next, we apply two animations. The first expands the width in steps, revealing each character one at a time, and the second animates the cursor to blink. These two animations together perfectly simulate the classic typing effect you often see in hero sections. To make the skeleton loading effect, we begin with using the class skeleton. The CSS gives it a neutral gradient background, using light shades of gray. We then increase the background size so the gradient has enough room to move. Using the Shimmer keyframes, we animate the background from left to right. Which produces the shiny sweep you typically see in modern skeleton loaders. It's a simple, lightweight loading placeholder that feels smooth and polished. For this sliding mobile menu, we create a with the class menu. In CSS, it's positioned on the left side, but moved off-screen by giving it a negative left value. We also add padding, text color, and a transition. Then, in JavaScript, we use setTimeout to add the open class after 1 second. When this class is added, the left property becomes 0, making the menu slide into view smoothly. This creates a clean and modern mobile navigation animation. To design this animated gradient effect, we add A and assign it the class gradient box. In CSS, we apply a multicolor diagonal gradient and increase the background size so the gradient has room to move around. Then we animate the background position inside our keyframes, shifting it from one side to the other. This produces a smooth, flowing color transition that feels modern and visually appealing, especially for hero sections or banners. For this alert shake effect, we start with using the class alert. The CSS gives it padding, a bold red background color, white text, and rounded corners. Then we apply the shake animation, which changes the translate X position multiple times. The element moves left and right very quickly, creating a brief shaking motion. This effect is perfect for drawing attention to errors, warnings, or form validation messages. To achieve this parallax effect, we use a container that can scroll vertically and place another inside it containing our background image. In CSS, the background image div is taller than the container and positioned so part of it sits outside view. Then we animate its vertical movement back and forth using the parallax keyframes. As users scroll, the background appears to move at a different speed, creating a subtle but visually pleasing depth effect.